Alrighty guys, welcome back to another episode of So What's Your Goal? I'm your host, Travis Otto, and today we're coming to you live from my studio here in New Orleans. I have an epic guest for you today, which I'll be introducing him here shortly. My mission is always to help you, the listener, to have some bigger goals, take action, make changes, and improve your life in one of three categories, or hopefully all of them: health, relationships, and money. If you can improve one of those three categories, you can probably improve the others. So today I have Jonathan Boots, is it Sigler?
Yeah.
Jonathan Boots Sigler. He goes by Boots, so we'll call him Boots. So Boots here, he is a Louisiana native with a passion for cinematography, cameras, and video production. He's the driving force behind his own company, JSB Productions, and he specializes in crafting captivating visual narratives. So you help like small businesses and that sort of stuff with their social media and even some larger productions. I think you mentioned you did something with Intel. That's a big company.
Yeah. I was a production assistant, but
Production assistant. That's so cool, though.
It was so cool, yeah. I
Yeah,
got to work with Jamie Foxx, and you got to meet Jamie Foxx. It was really, really cool.
Okay, Jamie Foxx is badass.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's done some big shit. And Boots' journey started off doing odd jobs during high school, and eventually he founded his own video production company. And his primary goal is to provide for his family while setting an example of hard work and determination. He's passionate about both his professional craft and his personal interests, such as basketball. I think you played a little bit of college ball, you said. And Boots believes in the power of pushing one's self beyond perceived limits. And that's huge too. So he's a living testament to the notion with that dedication and belief in oneself. Anything is possible. Here's Jonathan Boots Sigler. So how's it going, man?
Dude, doing good. It's good to be here, man.
Yeah. So you own a video production company. Tell us about that. How'd you get into that?
Yeah, man. So it's kind of something that I fell into. I know you asked me like what my work history is. Mm-hmm. And so basically for 8 years in between summer and high school and college, I worked at the same job at St. Peter's School. I worked with the same three people. Mm-hmm. And I really loved it. Like, dude, we had such a good time doing like mind-numbing work though. So basically whenever at the summertime when no kids are at school, you have to move all the desks off the floor because they're going to wax the floors, right? So you have to move all the furniture, stack it all the way neatly in a hallway to where the wax crew can get by. Yeah. And wax the floors. You put the desk back how it's supposed to be, right?
Okay.
And just like the guys that I work with though made it so much fun. Like, just learn a lot of like life lessons, a lot of good tips and stuff like that.
Like Mr. Miyagi, wax on, wax off, waxing the floors and shit.
And then when you're like 14, it's not bad. And the only reason why I liked it is because you could get off work at 3:30. So 7 a.m. you got to be there, and you get off at 3:30, and Monday through Friday. So 40 hours a week.
Yeah, rest of the day off.
And that was perfect because I was a basketball player, right? So then I could just go lift and then go train right after at 4 o'clock and be home for dinner, right?
Okay.
And I was making, this was years ago though, so I was making like $75 a day doing that, right? So it's like, I don't know, like $9.75 an hour, but this is also like years ago. So yeah, it was a little bit different. It's technically above minimum wage by like a decent amount because the minimum wage in Louisiana is $7.25. I don't know if you knew that.
No.
But it's ridiculously low. Anyway, so I tell all that just because, so kind of fast forward, it's going into my junior season at college. So it's like a transfer. I'm going in junior season. I'm going to go train with this basketball trainer. He trains pros. Okay. He trained 2 pros at the time. Trained some college guys, some high school guys. Really, really good. Really, really good trainer. And basically I'm out there and this guy who plays in Slovakia is training. And he's like, dude, like these are some of the best workouts I've ever gotten. Like, I go to LA and work out with these NBA guys and there's cameras everywhere. No one knows who you are because you're just training people like in Slidell, Louisiana. And like no one knows Slidell, Louisiana. Like, you need to get a cameraman here. And he's like, dude, if I knew someone, like I'd pay him, but like I just don't know anyone. And I'm just like shooting around the side listening to this. And I had taken video editing 1 in college. And I kind of did like TV production in high school, but I did it because it was an easy A. In college, I did it because it was kind of like an easy, I went to a smaller school. So it's like you either do communications, business, or you're like a theology major. And I didn't want to do, so I was like, I'm just going to do communications because I'm trying to focus on basketball. Yeah. And this guy's like, oh, dude, like, you know how to edit videos? And I was like, yeah, but like, I don't have a camera or anything. I just have my phone. He's like, dude, I'll pay you $50 and just to film me for an hour. I just need something from my agent. Yeah. And I was like, I mean, I'm making 75 and 8 and 50 and 1. I was like, yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah. It's a no-brainer.
So sure enough, so I get my iPhone, come back the next day, and my buddy gives me like a one of those things that you put in your cup holder and it has like an arm out, kind of like the arm for this mic. Yeah. And you put your phone in it. And I was just like, just literally going around filming this guy work out. And I put together a video. Video was actually not that bad. He just wanted his own song on it. And he's like, dude, I love this. Like, this is fire. Can you come back tomorrow? And I was like, yeah, I'll keep coming back. And so I did that like 3-4 days in a row. And then I went back to school, and just didn't think much of it. I was like, that's all kind of a neat little side hustle, right? I'm still learning kind of mainly more about graphic design in school because it was a communications major.
Yeah.
Right. And so I was learning a little bit more of like the multimedia design portion of it and not the digital production and broadcast. I'll get more into that later. Because that leads me into the next spring. So he's calling me. He's like telling me, man, just got hooked up with the agency and we're about to go to an NBA combine and I want you to film it. Like you could just use your phone. And I was like, damn, the NBA combine, like that sounds pretty crazy. I think I might like invest in a camera.
Yeah.
So sure enough, I bought a camera with like no money to my name, bought it like on an interest-free card, B&H, $1,600, and I had like $400. But I was about to go home for the summer. So I was like, once I go home for the summer, it'll be fine because I'm going to work the job and do all this stuff. And then COVID hit. So everything shut down and I just had that camera with that guy. He was training that one pro, but because the gym was privately owned, he went from training that one pro to 16 professional athletes.
Oh, okay.
And so that's how I kind of blew up. And I was like learning how to use the camera, doing all this stuff.
So just filming athletes at this private gym during COVID.
Yeah.
And that's how you got your start. So like,
just workouts.
Just workouts.
Just workouts. And like they would do 5-on-5. And then I would set up a system to where I'd film the 5-on-5. And then I'd sell individual mixes for these guys. And
so how much are you getting paid to do that?
Not enough.
Not enough.
Not enough for sure. But at the same time, I didn't really know how to operate a camera, so it's like I feel like I can't charge like tons of money for this, right?
Yeah. And this was only a couple years ago. This is COVID, so we're 2024. So
yeah, this is 5 years ago or 4 years ago.
4 years ago. Okay.
Yeah, and because I was also working another job, so this is just kind of like a side hustle in my mind still. And then just kind of like, well, this isn't. I was like, I need to find a real job. Like maybe if I get in with the Saints, the Pelicans, or like a professional sports team with benefits. That's what I was thinking at the time.
Yeah, the benefits, man.
And then
the only benefit you get when you work for a company is the benefit of the doubt.
That's right. And I feel like I came in full circle later. And so then I was like, I can't get anything. So, I had already graduated. I graduated college at 21.
Okay.
And so then I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to go back for a 5th year because I have extra eligibility. The job market's crap.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to get a second major in digital production and broadcast. And then once I got that, I kind of had the mindset going in though, because, I was 21, 22 at the time. So now I'm a little bit more mature that like, hey, look, I think I might as well just like think about starting my own business.
Yeah.
And people just were like crazy. They're just like, couldn't believe that I was like, my parents were just like, you can't just,
you can't start your own business like that.
It's just like, well, what's this like security? Like, who are you going to film? And I was like, I'm just going to figure it out.
Let me ask you a question. What did your parents do?
So my dad is a jeweler.
Okay.
And my mom is a school teacher now.
So your dad has his own business?
No.
No, he just worked for
he works for Adler's Jewelry in New Orleans.
Okay.
He's been doing it for 35 years. And,
So he's been a 9-to-5er for 35 years.
Not even retail. So even worse hours than 9 to 5, like 1 to 9, and a lot of tough stuff.
Oh shit.
And my dad was, the hardest worker I know. And
well, that's the thing, like I think if you have that hard work ethic, I don't see the point of working for somebody else unless you just like to be able to mentally turn your brain off and go home and watch TV.
Yeah.
But when you're an entrepreneur, out in the field like how you're doing, you have to be working around the clock. Like your brain's your work never shuts
off. Turn it off. Yeah.
But it's kind of like give and take,
Yeah, it's give and take for sure. And he was the manager, and so I felt like he had his own, like he ran the store, right? And then they have like 3 locations. So he was running one of the stores. So I feel like he kind of relates and like has given me a lot of good advice.
Sure.
About it and be really open to it. But my mom especially, my mom's like what you just said, it's like can't, think of perceiving the risk of doing this.
Yeah. But see, that's what, when I first quit my job and started my own business, the thing that came to me was like, okay, the risk, right? The risk of losing. Well, you're a young dude. Like, what do you have to lose?
Exactly.
You don't have anything. You had $1,600 in your bank account.
That's right.
Not even 16. You had $400 in your bank account, so you're $800 or.
I was in the hole.
You were in the hole. $1,200.
I was in the hole. Yeah.
So what's the worst case scenario? Nothing.
That's right.
You had nothing to lose, bro.
Yeah. And so then once I graduated, and then that summer I was working part time at that job I was telling you, and then eventually just like by August, by the time the kids came back, I was like, I'm going all out on my own.
Yeah.
But to go out on my own, I can't just do athletes anymore. I got to start working with businesses.
Yeah.
I got to start trying to just find ways to equal this out. So there's a doctor that everyone kept referring me to. He's an ENT doctor. He started his own medical education company.
Yeah.
And so he was kind of like the first guy I talked to and gave me an opportunity to kind of film him do a lot of little videos in his office, doing like in his clinic and stuff like that.
Just doing little procedures.
That's right. Well, kind of.
He's teaching? He has a course?
Dude, he has like a super interesting company. I actually still work with him. He's still like my good friend.
Yeah.
And Okay, so his company's called Compasio Medical Education, right?
Okay.
And he does have courses, right? And so, but he had this idea. It's this instrument called the pneumatic otoscope. It's basically like he can look inside your ear and your nose and whatever with like a little camera.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's showing you like what it's like to have a fly in your ear, or what it's like to get like a roach out of someone's ear, or like ear foreign objects. Like a lot of basically the middle ear is misdiagnosed in urgent care clinics 90% of the time.
Yeah.
So his job is to flip that, right? So he's trying to film all these people's ears. Just don't irrigate this. He's literally showing you like, it's almost like watching like film in basketball. You're like, don't do this.
Yeah.
And so that's what he was doing. And then now he made a course teaching it. And now he's not only doing ENT, he's doing like cardiology. He's going to do orthopedics now.
Okay.
And he has those big courses that he sells. And then he just...
So who's he sell these courses to? Other doctors?
Nurse practitioners.
Oh, okay.
Doing like universities like UL.
Okay.
And he's trying to sell it to people in med schools. Yeah.
Does he have like a big Instagram account? Like, hey, buy my course, swipe up?
He's working on it. He's working on it.
That's cool,
yeah,
man.
he just hired a full-time like social media team.
Yeah.
And he's got bigger a little bit more on YouTube.
You think the buy my course is a fad, or you think it's going to stick around?
I think courses are fantastic for passive income. I think it really just depends who is selling the course.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think if you have a course that's really, really valuable and the person behind it is trustworthy, then yeah, it probably makes sense buying it. But I'm wondering if it's going to be one of those things where you don't even need a course anymore. You probably can just log into ChatGPT and type, how to, do a reverse colonoscopy, whatever the hell that is.
Yeah, it's true.
And then it'll generate a video for you of how to do it.
It's very true, but I do think learning, like I've done courses, like I've bought people's courses, and like actually like hearing their whole thought process. Yeah, it kind of. It's like, okay, well, I know like I bought this guy like Ty Rogers' course. It's like, well, I know like Ty likes to do this, and like this is his way of thinking of something.
What did you teach him? What did he teach you?
Videography. So I bought his sports videography course, and I think the biggest thing he taught me was like getting like a variety of shots. So for a while there, I was just kind of like filming, but like a lot of like what your camera settings should be on, what kind of shots, how to blend shots together, keeping the eye line the same, and there's a lot of other stuff. I mean, the course was huge. But
so you learned a lot. So
yeah,
it's totally
I learned
worth
a lot.
it. You got your money's worth?
Got money's worth. I mean, I've done a few courses. I even done masterclass, learned a little bit about masterclass.
Have you seen that one dude on Instagram? He's the only like photographer teach you how to do shit kind of guy that I've seen. Is JD the camera guy? Have you seen that one?
No, haven't heard of that guy.
He's just a big influencer. He sells a bunch of courses on how to take the right angles, how to do stuff with your iPhone, how to just like amateur photography level 1 type
Pretty
thing.
cool.
And I'm sure he has like more advanced courses, but that dude, I always see his stuff everywhere. He's probably killing it.
Yeah, probably.
So
it's a good way to make a lot of money.
Yeah, I think it is until ChatGPT takes everything over.
Yeah,
AI,
I know.
AI is going to be the death of us.
It is crazy though. Sometimes people, I feel like I even used to do this girl's like one of her courses, and she's like a business coach.
Yeah. And
she's like posting like half of what she's saying in the course on YouTube just to advertise the course. And then I'm like, once you buy it, it's just like, well, that's, and like business coaching too. It's like your business is what? It's just business coaching. It's like you weren't like successful in another business to establish yourself.
I can teach you how to be a business coach.
Like it's a difference. Like, oh, I ran a successful business for years, and then now I'm a business coach.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
So how many years do you have to, be a business coach before you can sell a course on how to be a business coach?
I wouldn't say it has to be like a certain amount of years, but as long as you actually like ran a separate business besides that.
Could you sell a course right now on how to do what you do?
Not yet.
Not yet?
I've had 5-6 years of experience. Mm-hmm. I think I need some more though. Just because.
But couldn't you just make like an amateur photography course? Like I guarantee you could teach me probably, I don't know, probably 10 tips that could level up my videography experience,
I mean, I probably could. It's just something that like you want to be like a full master on, and I don't want to like just give it out to make money. Like I don't want to just like give my knowledge. It's the same principle as like, okay, I'm a basketball trainer, right?
Yeah.
I want to be a basketball trainer that specializes in like training professional athletes or like high school and college kids. Say those are my 3 niches, right? And I want to help these guys get to the next level. So I want to work with them one-on-one, teach them all these things, get them a scholarship or wherever they want, get their money up, versus a basketball trainer who just focuses about money. And if you just focus about money, you would just do a camp for kids. And it's like, I'm going to do 10 kids and we're just going to run like ball handling drills because I'm a college player or I was a former pro player. So you're just running like, camp for kids. Let's do 10 kids an hour for 3 hours. You're making an absolute killing. But then it's kind of like you're a glorified babysitter. And it's like, do you just want to do that for the rest of your life?
Well, that's not scalable. Everything that I try to think about now, like, have you familiar with Bradley? Have you met Bradley or seen his Instagram? Mm-hmm. So he's like this big online business guy, and he's always talking about scale. And he's like, if whatever you're doing, if you can't scale it, meaning like you can't remove yourself from the business and, exponentially grow,
Right.
then you don't really have a business, you just have a job. And so like doing that babysitter job, like he can't really scale that unless he hires other
Well, you can
people.
hire someone to run the camps.
Yeah,
and then make tons of money. But then it's kind of like, even then, it's like, I just feel like you're just ripping people off in the sense of there's a difference of being like a specialist and someone who's just like really, really good at business, making tons of money, I guess.
Sure. So when it comes to your camera business, how did you get well, we kind of understood how you got started, right? With you were mopping the floors and then he's like, dude, I'll shoot you with my iPhone for $50. So, and then you got referred to this doctor. So all word of mouth is basically how you got started.
Yeah, because then the doctor knew a real estate guy,
and then
got linked up with the real estate guy. And then essentially I was like, well, how do I balance this out? Let me get involved in like the video production landscape in New Orleans. That way I can have like the sports guys, business guys.
Is there a big business New Orleans culture here? Like a lot of people doing what you're doing, or?
Yeah, so I think it used to be a lot more prominent. Like they used to shoot tons of movies in New Orleans.
What happened?
I just think taxes. I don't really know tons about it because I'm not like in the union and like in that circle.
Yeah.
But I know it has a lot to do with like tax breaks, and I think a lot of people are just going to Atlanta or sticking in LA. And a lot of things are just being shot more in stages now. Stages are just like studios.
Well, yeah, and then you got AI and backdrops, and we could be sitting in Westeros from Game of Thrones.
And more of like less things are just being filmed in the streets now, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's a big reason. There used to be like New Orleans, they come here because it's a little bit cheaper, and I think
yeah, dude, that's one thing about New Orleans. It ain't cheap here.
It's not cheap
anymore. It's like, so you would think Las Vegas would be more expensive than New Orleans, right? It's not. Yeah. It is far cheaper to live in Las Vegas than it is to live in New Orleans, Louisiana. It was just a total myth in my brain. Crazy. I figured I'm moving down south. It's got to be inexpensive down here,
Everybody don't get paid as much either.
Yeah, no, the wages are lower down here. Like you said, you were making like $7.50, which was
I was making like $9.50, but the minimum wage was like the minimum wage is $7.25.
$7.25 an hour, yeah.
That's pitiful.
West Coast was like I think like at least $8.50 or $9 an hour. I think, but pretty much everybody got paid 10, like if you're making below $10 an hour, it sucked. That was my first, hourly gig was $10 an hour. But yeah, I can't believe how crazy expensive it is down here and how poorly ran the city is. Like,
yeah, like the construction to get here, like people, I was like, there's someone's drilling like, this major hole right outside Travis's house right now.
Yeah.
And they don't even have like any signs until you get there.
No. Yeah. I've seen, you follow that one Instagram account on, it's just for New Orleans. It's called Look at This Fucking Street. Have you seen that account?
No.
You've never seen it?
No.
Oh my God, dude.
But the street by your house can make it. It's bad.
Yeah. No, like I made it one time, at one of my rental properties here. We had a gas leak in the backyard and there was like water over it. And there was just gas like bubbling up out of the ground, water spitting out like in the middle of our back alleyway. And I tagged, Look at This Fucking Street, and they reposted it. And they're like, bro, you need to call the gas, company because that's dangerous. And there was a fat ass gas leak. They came out the next day or later that day and they repaired these gas lines that were buried underneath the ground. They were just leaking. And that Instagram account is literally just a collection of huge potholes, like ridiculous things, like people taking a bath inside these potholes. Like the things that they post on that account is wild. And it's just like, it's a perfect example of like New Orleans.
Yeah.
And so like about a month or two ago, I was, actually it was just last month. I think my wife and I were going to Miami for the International Yacht Show in Miami. And the day we got to the airport, there was no water at the airport. Like there was a main water break somewhere in Metairie, and everything was shut off. So imagine going to an airport where tens of thousands of people come every single day. There's no bathrooms. There's no place to wash your hands. You can't flush the toilet. They had the bathrooms closed. They had to bring in porta potties inside of the airport. I saw later that day.
Yeah,
it's just nuts.
I turned the shower on that morning, like nothing came out, and I was like, "Oh my gosh,
I know
what's going on."
Yeah, you just think like, I don't know. I could go on and on and on about how poorly ran the city is. Like, it's just, I think it's getting better though. For the record,
it is getting a little bit better
because there's a new governor in place, and so I think that he's trying to crack heads and spend money more wisely. So I don't know. I hope it turns around because it could be a really, really cool city.
Yeah, man. And I feel like it used to be a lot different than it is now. It used to be a lot safer.
Everybody tells me
than
that
it is now.
Yeah.
Like when I was a little kid, I never felt like I was walking around the French Quarter, like looking around my back like I am now.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
You know, it's like
No.
I was working at a conference, American Trucking Conference. It was in a convention center.
Yeah.
Someone told me like one of the vendors got held at gunpoint and
Oh,
got
yeah.
robbed.
Dude,
like, while they were there.
I've been here for 2 years, and within the first 3 months of moving here, my car got broken into 2 times, window shattered. Like, car got broken into, parked in front of my house, and this is Lakeview.
I was about to say, Travis lives in like...
We live in a nice part of town. Like, it's $1 million home on both sides of me, you know? Car get broken into 2 times. Then about a month later, we were driving down the highway. I honked at this dude because he cut me off really bad. And then he pulls up next to me on the highway, sticks a gun out the window and points it at me. So then I like speed off because I'm, what the fuck, you know, is going on here? And I couldn't believe it. Like, you know, so it's just, but it hasn't happened lately. And we haven't had the motorcycle gangs riding through the neighborhood lately.
And the carjacking slow down.
And the carjackings, yeah. We don't need to turn this into a bash on New Orleans
right.
podcast. But that's cool, man.
It's a real thing, though.
It is a real thing. It's wild as hell down here.
We're not exaggerating it.
No, it's crazy. So how did you get your first referral, I guess? You know, like how do people ask for referrals? You know, or did he just like said, hey, I know a guy, here's another dude?
So this guy just randomly called me and he's like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm a real estate. He owns a lot of self-storage units. He owns, a lot of self-storage units in Mississippi too.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, I'm really good friends with, Jeffrey. He called me and told me you're, a really hard worker, real good guy. Meaning at this time, dude, I literally had like a backpack with a camera and like some good lenses.
Yeah.
But like I didn't have like, I didn't even have like lights yet or anything. So I was very much like,
yeah, just
I'd like,
starter.
forgive me for, not a good time to pick me up for a business right there.
Yeah.
Because I just started. And so we ended up filming some stuff together. And, word just kind of got out. So I got a few more referrals. But then I really was just like, dude, I think I just need to know like a lot more because I feel like I'm a very driven person, very hard worker.
Which I think is rare to find here in Louisiana.
That's what that's the only reason why they kept me around. Because I was like, to be honest, like, why are you guys keeping me around if I don't have like any of these lights and stuff where you can go hire someone? Well, first of all, it's cheap.
You show up.
I show up and they're like, we really think that like we're investing as you in a person more than we're investing in like your skills of what you're doing. Yeah. But then I was kind of like, I need to get involved like in the film landscape here. And so there's a company, Elephant Quote Productions, and I worked for them for like a year and a half. Just as a contractor, but that's really where I learned a lot. Like I did learn a lot in school, but the hands-on experience, learning from guys that are smarter than you, what a roles in the film set is, what does this look like in a scalable situation? So in a sense of like, these budgets are obviously like it's a 4 or 5 man crew. So these budgets are significantly higher. And the toughest part about it, when I was filming guys, it was almost like, there was no like blueprint for success. Like I'm looking in the North Shore, there was no real production companies around. Yeah. Like there were in LA and the West Coast, like they had some bigger cities, but like I'm in Covington, dude. I'm like, no one in Covington knows anything about this. But like, no, I do think that video is the future. It's before TikTok, is before anything. Yeah. So mind you, the landscape has changed significantly because I was getting paid to do IGTV stuff, which doesn't exist anymore. Yep. And 59-second mixes because you couldn't have anything over a minute on Instagram for the longest time. And then TikTok blew up. And then now, like 2 years later, you're rotating your camera, filming it vertical.
Are the videos that you're creating for these people, are they all just for social media platforms?
No, a lot of them are for their website.
Okay.
And doing like advertising campaigns and stuff like that.
Like Facebook ads, that sort of stuff? Or
yeah, doing that. Or if they if some, like for instance, if a church wants to, they want to fundraise like, I don't know how many millions of dollars, but like a lot of money. And
yeah, they want to make some money.
Create like a storyline to help them.
Are you doing scripting and that sort of stuff, or you just come up there and show up with the camera? All right, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Like, how is it? How in depth are you?
It depends on the client. So, for instance, there's a client that I work with. He's a personal injury attorney, and he like loves script writing. Yeah. So we've actually been doing like comedy skits on YouTube. Okay. And we, like my friend and I, we wrote one of them. But the rest of them, he pretty much writes himself. And those are actually doing really, really well. They have like 70,000 views, 50,000 views, all this
just
stuff.
Was he an injury lawyer?
Yeah, so basically...
In a wreck, need a check or whatever it is?
He had this idea of like a 12-year-old who's going to run his whole company's marketing. Yeah. And to do like SNL skits of like how bad this dude is at marketing. But the kid is... And so that's like the premise of the situation. And they're filmed just like The Office. So like zooming in, like documentary, like doing little like interviews where he's acknowledging the camera and all. And but then like that school I was telling you that went to fundraise the money, they like to do movie spoofs. And so like they wrote a script that's basically like they did like a Back to the Future spoof, a Karate Kid spoof. This year we did Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And they just asked me to like revise the script and add in anything that they want. And then where should we film it? How should we light this?
Okay.
How much time does it take? Like the production side of it.
How much is like your average ticket? Like a client wants to shoot a video. How much does it cost for you to?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like buying a car, to be honest. It's something that's very, very broad because you can only do so much based on their budget, right?
All right.
So say,
all right, let's think about like some typical business. We work with business owners, right? Who would be like a business who, I mean, every business would probably benefit from having an online social media presence, right? So let's use like, let's just use real estate as an example because there's a lot of realtors out there. All right. So, and there's so many different ways you can market real estate. So like if a realtor wanted to hire you to shoot content, like a beautiful video of their listing and their office and, like how awesome they are as a broker, 2-minute video, right? Let's say for their YouTube or for their website. What goes into that? How much would that cost?
Yeah. So it would just be like asking them a lot of questions. So when I said it was like buying a car, for instance, some of those companies, like even like the self-storage guys, like, look, we don't have a budget for a full day. Okay. So what can you do within the constraints of working here for like 4 hours?
Okay.
And so then you're like, well, it's going to be like minus another crew member. Like it might just be me and another guy. We can only do, X amount of things. If someone has like a good budget for like, hey, this is a full day shoot.
How much is a good budget?
I mean, it varies.
Okay. Give me an example. Just pick a job in your brain.
I mean, anywhere between like, in my opinion, because I'm just kind of starting out, it's been 2.5 years full time. So I think like a full day real estate shoot, like you were talking about, maybe around the neighborhood of like $2,500 to $3,000.
Okay. Is that just for recording and editing?
That's just a 8-hour day.
Just to show up. Editing. Here's the video. Here's the raw video. $2,500. This is what we need. Okay.
2-minute edited together.
Okay. And do you have any costs associated with that?
If you bring on someone on set.
So if you have
and that depends on what he's doing. If he's doing audio, if he's a PA, or if he's a cinematographer.
Are most of the time you by yourself, or are you bringing people in with you?
So if it's a budget like that, then I'm definitely going to try and bring people in with me. Okay. And I think that is on the lower end, what I just said.
Sure. Yeah.
So a lot of people.
Sky's the limit, man.
Yeah, that's the thing. So there's some people that are doing that same thing that I just told you for $10,000 to $15,000.
Okay.
And it takes a lot of experience to get there, a lot of portfolio work that's similar to get there, a lot of knowledge, a lot of
and you have to have like a product that people like, like they have to like how you shoot, how you light things, how you wiggle the camera, you know, the settings, the lenses. Like there's so much, there's a lot that goes into it.
There's a lot goes into it. And then for instance, what I was telling you, like buying a car, like for instance, some people like St. Paul's is a school that I work for. So how much would you film if you were to come film our baseball games once a month for 4 months?
Yeah.
And so I think every project is almost different than itself. You could just do only website videos, only do the 2,500, 3,000, like that's all we do.
Yeah. But
for a while there, I was like, I'm only doing those. And then like Instagram has blown up so much, like TikTok's blown up so much. So, and it kind of goes back on like what the film industry in New Orleans. I feel like a lot of people are basically twisting into like huge crews, big budgets, to almost like one or two camera guys showing up for 2 hours and we're filming content for the month.
Yeah.
And I had to be willing to adapt and like put your pride aside. Like, look, you might not be able to make that big budget, but you might be able to make way more per hour. We're only going to show up for 2 hours. You're going to get 8 deliverables. And this is how much it's going to cost.
Got it. Okay.
You know?
So could anybody start this business?
No.
What's it take? No?
If you have like a lot of capital, I think it does take a good bit of capital to get all the equipment that you need.
Well, I mean, you said you started with your cell phone, right? Basically, or a cell phone.
Yeah, but I was only charging so much back then. I think to be able to survive as a business, you need to charge a lot more than that, and you need to have good experience to produce it.
But so let's say that, I mean, you started this when you were like, what, 21, 22?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're 21, 22, you're probably still living at home, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so theoretically, you could just start this from home, go out and, I mean, if I was 21, 22, which I don't know, it's probably a lot different even now than when you started, you know,
very different.
Like a few years ago. Like social media is just blowing up, like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, like everything's crazy.
Yeah, there's the competition is a lot higher now, so it's way.
Is there a lot more competition?
Way.
Have you lost jobs here in New Orleans to other videographers?
Yeah, like for instance, like I'll put I've bid on a project and then like they just take the cheaper guy.
Sure.
And that's happened like a few times, but for the most part, it's kind of like if you get that referral, it's like we're just going to do business with you because we like you a lot.
Well, yeah,
and it's not as much of like another company. We just don't know who to hire, and so they just pick you.
Sure. But you could get, so, I mean, let's say somebody wanted to start, right? So whoever's listening to this, maybe they want to get into videography, right? And they want to, start making $2,500 a day for, shooting, ads or whatever it is that you guys are doing, how would they get started? What would be step one? How would you find your first client if you're sitting at home trying to get this going? You got a cell phone, and maybe you got a cheap Sony camera. How do you get started?
So at first, I would say explore your own network.
Okay.
So before you do anything, think about your own network. Think about the people that you've interacted with in your life, the people that maybe are family, friends, people that have their own businesses. Just think, because that is going to get you a business. Like if you went like, oh yeah, we used to go over to Jeffrey's house growing up, and I know Jeffrey's parents owned his own business. If you go to him and say that, like, you're very likely to be able to be given the opportunity, and it's whatever you do that opportunity that could either, set you up for working a lot more of those similar opportunities, or it could set you backwards. So
yeah,
I think that is huge. Explore your own network. And then once you kind of get a few projects under your belt, maybe start cold calling. But the toughest thing is to do that level of budget, you need to have a lot of equipment.
Well, yeah, you didn't just start at $2,500 days.
Right. But the thing is, nowadays, lensrentals.com, huge. It's lifesaver. You can rent a lot of equipment for cheap.
Interesting. Like from a website, you can rent
from
stuff?
your website. Like, for instance, it's A7 IV. You might be able to get the A7 IV for a weekend for $100, 3 days.
Oh, shit.
$114 for 3 days.
As long as you don't break it, you're fine.
And it's like a $10 insurance. They have like a little insurance that you can do, but all you have to do is you literally pick it up.
Yeah.
It's a case. It comes in its own Pelican case. You film it, you put it back, you bring the Pelican case. They have it comes with a sticker. You slap the sticker back on, drop it off. That's it. It's that easy.
So you've done it a few times.
A lot. And then it's another thing.
What about drones? Can you do it with drones too?
You can do it with drones too.
No, that'd be scary.
Yeah.
I mean, because those are expensive. I think those are pretty easy to screw up.
A little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing it for drones like April 10th though. I mean, it's huge because I used to buy drones, but then I had like 2 drones. I sold them both because it's one of those things that the technology advances so fast.
Yeah.
That it's almost like a drone 2 years ago compared to a drone today. It's like completely different.
So so what was this website again?
Lensrentals.com.
Lensrentals.com. Is there any competition for it?
Dude, they just bought their competition.
Oh shit. Well, there you need to go. You need to go start your own now, because I think that's where the money's at.
So I thought about it.
That's scalable, man.
Yeah. So
it takes a lot of capital to get started, but
when I was living with my parents, I really did invest a lot in gear and equipment and nice gear and equipment. And basically when I was working for that company in New Orleans, I would just be, hey, do you guys need like an extra camera, like an extra light? And then you can kind of get like mini rentals off that. Yeah. And I did the same with like just my friends that have their own businesses too. So you can honestly get a little bit of rentals, but to be like a full size rental house, it might cost you a lot because
you could start local,
Yeah. But dude, I love like the scalability of it. If you were like, New Orleans might not be a great place for it, but like if you lived in Los Angeles, and you're buying like $100,000 cameras, some of those rent out for like $1,500 to $2,000 a day.
Well, that makes sense.
And people might shoot a 50-day movie, and it's like that's $50K, boom.
Yeah, boom. You rent it out twice, and
that camera is going to be worth a lot for a very long time. Like for instance, he could probably get the camera back from the movie and then sell it for 80 or 70, and you made pretty good money off of it.
I can't imagine spending. How much you say the camera was?
$100,000.
$100,000 camera. What's it do?
Same thing all the other cameras do, but it's just there's a lot more that gets into it. But
so do you have any tips for amateur photographers or videographers? Is there anything that they could do to their camera to like level up their game? Just like,
dude, absolutely. The biggest thing is like investing in yourself, man. You can learn so much. I know we were kind of talking before the show, like on YouTube and everything. Yeah, man, you can learn. And nowadays I feel like, you're a videographer, you're going to be posting to YouTube something, right? Yeah. For the most part. Yeah. I don't do a good job of it, but there's a lot of people that you can get so much knowledge to understand lighting, to understand composition, camera settings, different tips and tricks. I feel like a lot of it is learning those tips and tricks, and that's really what you get paid for, right? Mm-hmm. It's like you get paid because your client only understands like this looks light or this looks dark. Yeah. He doesn't understand.
Why does it look fuzzy?
What's going through your head of like key light, backlight, shadow, like rim, all these things are like going through your head. Yeah. They don't really care about, dude. They care about
end result.
You can communicate your thoughts vividly, right? So that's another thing. Invest in yourself, like invest in your own knowledge, maybe read books, like just to be able to present your ideas.
Are there any videography books that you've read that have like changed the game for
you?
Not
videography books, but mainly like psychology books and like sales books and stuff like that.
What is that? Like what do you mean psychology and sales books?
Just like how people think, why they think, what makes people tick.
Okay.
Like Malcolm Gladwell stuff.
Has that helped you out in your business?
I like it. I think it just helps you get a perspective on certain things. And I think The Way of the Wolf by Jordan Belfort's a really, really good book too.
Okay.
It's kind of like how you present yourself.
Yeah.
That's a fascinating book. He got like 30 school desks for like 50 cents, and he just got all these like 30 college kids and just like sell penny stocks to the cheap people in America. And they all were making like 30, 40K a month, right?
Yeah.
And then he goes, all right, stop. I want you to sell these to the wealthiest 1% of America. And none of them made any money. They all made $0. And so then him and his best friend Donnie, which is Jonah Hill in the movie,
Yeah.
they're making a killing still.
Yeah.
Because they knew how to sell. So then he invented the straight line sales method. And that's what the book's about. I don't want to spoil it because I want you to read it. But the straight line sales method, and that's how he actually makes Jordan Belfort's rich again, because he's doing speaking and talking and doing all these things because he's teaching the straight line sales methods to people. He's like, everyone should know how to do this.
Okay.
And how to sell.
I'm going to read that book. What's it called?
The Way of the Wolf.
The Way of the Wolf.
It's a sequel to Wolf of Wall Street, because The Wolf of Wall Street is his first book, which is just his life story. And then The Way of the Wolf is more about the straight line sales method. Mm-hmm. And then he came up with the third one. And I listened to the audiobook because he reads the audiobook. And he is very, very... I don't know if you've heard him talk.
Yeah, I've heard him speak. I think I follow him on Instagram, I think.
Yeah.
But I haven't really read any of his stuff. I just kind of follow him because he's the Wolf of Wall Street. Like, how are you not going to follow him?
Yeah.
You know, like...
He does a really good job, like, talking about tonality, like, how to sell with your voice, how to sell...
So is he your favorite salesperson? Like,
Probably.
that you follow?
Yeah.
You take his
I don't
advice?
follow, like, tons of sales guys, but I do follow him, and I do like his stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I think it would be easy to get started, but at the same time, very difficult. Because, like, this is where my brain goes to with this sort of stuff, where it's like, is it more about getting started? You're probably working with really small mom and pop businesses who probably don't have much budget, if any at all, and it's very experimental for them. And then is your goal, let's ask that question, is your goal to get the larger scale, big production, high ticket clients? Is that what you're gearing towards?
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with working with mom and pop businesses.
No, there's nothing wrong with it.
Only because a lot of times they will offer you more consistency. So, like, for instance, they're more likely to get on a retainer with you. Like, hey, we're going to do things every month for like 6 months, and then we'll see how it goes. And granted, they probably don't post anything. So if you do something for them for every 6 months, their traction and their performance is going to skyrocket. And then that's going to be a client forever.
So would you do any like the social media marketing agency stuff where it's like, you know, you reach out to a business, hey, we'll record content for you, and hey, we'll post your content for you, we'll edit it, and we'll, you know, send leads your way? Do you do any of that sort of stuff?
No posting, no leads your way.
Why not?
Just because, look, we focus on video production and we do it well.
Do you partner with any people who do that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that is the future.
So who makes more money, you or those guys?
I think me. Because, I mean, I can't imagine you just take the rate I send you and then quadruple it and then charge the person. But, I mean, I could be wrong.
Well, I mean, if you're charging, so like, for example, mom and pop business, let's say they own, I work with a lot of dealerships. Let's say they're a dealership, right? A small family-owned car lot. You know, they're not doing anything for social media. They don't have a social media presence at all. You cold call them up to like, hey, I noticed you guys have a website. I noticed your Instagram sucks. You're not posting anything. What if, you know, for $1,000 a month, I did this, and this for you. I came out to your dealership. I recorded a couple of videos, and I, you know, posted them to YouTube. I mean, how much could you charge for that? You know,
it would just depend on how many YouTube deliverables and what that entails. So
I don't know. Give me a put together. You know your business. So if you're gonna let's put together a pitch right now.
It's just like, the hardest thing is that people want different things, and it's hard for some people to understand that. Like,
sure.
For instance, if for the mom and pop people, if they want 3 YouTube videos that are 3 to 5 minutes, it's going to cost way more than if you just want something that's, hey, I want you just to come by and do like a little video for Instagram every single month.
All right.
Because now you're talking about you're making 4 deliverables, and you're going to be shooting way more.
So how much would you charge if you had the social media marketing agency and you're the video guy? So you're doing the video and you're doing the posting. How much would you charge that one dealership for once a week posting 1 minute videos on, you know?
So 4 1-minute videos a month.
4 1 minute videos a month.
And
for a car dealership.
And then I would need to know what you want to exactly film, because
I don't know what I want. I just want more leads in the door. So you're the expert marketing guy. You're the video guy. Just do whatever you got to do to get people buying more cars in my dealership. I don't know.
Okay,
I sell cars, man. That's all I do.
All right. So then I would say, I think a good thing for you to do is to do frequently asked questions. So pick 4 of your most frequently asked questions.
Can you go lower on the price?
Exactly. 4 of your most frequently asked questions. And then I would try to pitch them the idea of like getting more B-roll of the premise. So like maybe even drone shots, shots of cars in addition to the audio portion of it. And that's going to cost more because I'm filming more.
All right. So
then you kind of piece it all together for, I don't know, $2,000 or $3,000 a month.
Two, 3 grand a month. Okay.
You're asking a lot. It's like 4 videos for me to show up.
Yeah.
For probably 6 hours to film that.
Do you think businesses would pay that?
Yeah, I mean, I think so, but I don't think they would want it every single month.
No. So what is something that, because like I'm all about residual revenue. So number one, I like to provide value to the customers. Number two, I like to provide value for myself, and I want that residual income flowing in. So I want a client to sign up with me once, and then we keep on working together for a long time. Like that's the best. So what package could you put together for this dealership, for example, that you believe, based upon what you know, they would sign up for and keep on paying you for every single month?
So I think the biggest thing is like just selling them on the fact that they're getting a deal and talking to them in a way that makes it affordable to them, and that you're like a good people's person, right?
Yeah.
So for instance, like there's a lawyer I work for, right? He wants to do frequently asked questions.
Sure.
Okay, well the best thing for me and you to do is, it might not look the prettiest, but if we just basically put like one camera straight ahead, second camera here, and we just shoot FAQs cutting between cameras, right?
Okay.
Your deliverables are going to be like under a minute.
Okay.
Right. And we're only going to be shooting for 3 hours or 2 hours.
Okay.
So now I'm not it doesn't really cost me much because I'm only going to be out there for 2-3 hours. I don't really have to hire a second person because this is going to be a locked off tripod shot.
Yeah.
And, we could do something as simple as that for like, it depends on how many deliverables you want.
Yeah.
Maybe just 10 deliverables, but it's only 30 seconds. So maybe you can do $1,000, $1,500 a month.
Okay.
And now you're thinking like, okay, well now it's only taking 2 hours of my time. I'm going to get content for maybe 2 months, 10 videos. I post 1 a week for 2 months. And so it's kind of like, hey, I'll do that,
Yeah,
and now it's not costing me much time at all. And it did, like whenever you had the example of like, hey, I'm a car dealership. Now you're saying that you need people to know your business. So now we probably have to start staging some shots of like someone that's walking in. Let's get the shots greeting. Let's get shots of the car. Let's get shots of the landscape. Yeah. Whereas like you could really hone it in and make it more affordable. And it just kind of depends on your pitch to the person in a sense of what they want.
Yeah.
So like the biggest thing with Jordan Belfort in the end of the movie in Wolf of Wall Street, he's like, sell me this pen.
Yeah. And
I always thought the answer was like, oh, well, write your name down. And it's like, I don't have a pen. Well, this is perfect. Here's a pen. And that's not actually the answer. Okay. The answer is, it's like, how long have you been in market for a pen? Because you don't want to waste anyone's time, right? And so you have to ask them like, how long you've been interested in video, or are you interested at all? And then when they say, are you interested at all? All right, well, let's talk about your pain points. What are some things that you struggle with? What are some things that would make your business more streamlined? And then you offer them a pitch based on that and how you feel them out. Okay. So that has a lot to do with it, because you could talk to a guy and okay, well, FAQs is going to be a waste of his time. I think you need a branding video. Okay. Yeah. So let's just sell them the one branding video for this.
So you take every client as they come in, because everybody wants everything different. Like that's basically what
that's the hardest part about it.
I think everybody wants the same end result.
Yes.
But the process of how you get there, everybody thinks there's a different way.
Kind of, yeah. Because then another person might come to you, hey man, I have this idea. Like for instance, a lot of these bigger production companies, like I have this idea from the airport, right? And we want to get this X talent to see like she's enjoying New Orleans. So like let's set up a buffet. It's like a Fat Happy. So let's set up like a whole buffet, and let's do like a pretty big commercial with it to like have some nice tracking shots and all this. Like we want to have like an interactive thing to show off the New Orleans airport. So now you're coming up with a creative development, a creative concept, a creative idea. That's going to cost way more money. And whereas when you're just trying to feel them out and you're just like, well, let's do FAQs and branding videos or this. Yeah. Or you can come up with the whole creative development, write a script and do that too. So there's just like a lot of, that's the one thing I don't like about this business as much, is that it's so broad. It's almost like you're buying a car. Like you can either get the cheapest car on the lot, or you can get the most expensive. We can develop this whole storyline for you and make a whole commercial. Yeah. Or do this. And so that's why you see
probably ask these people this question a lot. What's your budget? Like for this or what? I hate that question.
I had a few people that say don't do that ever. So I really wasn't doing that for a long time. And then depending on the client, sometimes I will. Yeah. For the most part, I try not to though, but you know,
this is what when people ask me what's your budget, the first thing I think, well, if I knew that it was going to work, then I don't really care what the budget. I'd put $100,000 on this if I knew it was going to make me, triple. Right. But I don't. And so my budget, I don't know what my budget is. You know what I mean? Like I never know.
And usually that's what people answer. Like, I don't know, how much is it going to take? But for instance, sometimes like when you don't ask that and you put together a whole proposal, it's like, whoa, this is like way out of my budget, dude. Like I can't do this.
Well, I guess you could give them ranges. Okay. Is over 10,000 too much? No? Oh, is over 20,000 too much? No. Is over 30,000 too much? Yeah. Okay. So now we know it's between 20 and 30,000. Maybe that's the way to go about it.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's smart too.
And then you can say, look, dude, I can tell you what we can do for 20,000. I can tell you what I do for $100.
That's right.
$100, I'll tell you to go fuck yourself.
But I feel like there's a lot of avenues in video because video production is very broad. So for instance, like people who do weddings, okay? I don't really necessarily like to do weddings.
Yeah.
My wife does them, but
your wife's a videographer too?
Yeah.
So is the family business.
Kind of, yeah. But she kind of is different. She invented this own thing where she films weddings with her iPhone.
Okay.
And she iPhone in a gimbal so it's stable.
Yeah.
And gives you all the clips 24 hours after the wedding.
Okay.
Thought that was a terrible idea. I was like, why would you do that as a videographer, photographer? Like, it's
So she just uses an iPhone.
Genius idea. I was completely wrong. She's booked. She started like last April and has done like over 54 weddings. She's got 36 booked this year.
That sounds really easy.
And the biggest thing about weddings is it's the same. So
Yeah,
that's why it's way better.
Yeah.
So like, oh, you want a wedding video? Okay, well, I already know that the market rate's $3,000, so I could either charge you a little bit below or a little bit above.
Yeah.
Okay, it'd be $3,500. That's too much. Oh, we want to do $3,000? Yeah, let's do $3,000. Boom. And it's only on Saturdays. It's 10-hour day standard. Weddings 10 hours. Boom. That's it. And so I feel like that is much more of a scalable business. And then you have people that just work weddings that you can just plug them in. It's just one of those things. It's like if you don't really like doing it, then
I already think you have a course to sell.
Maybe.
You know, I mean, if you could teach somebody the skills and the things to say to eventually get to the point where you can charge $2,000 a day or $3,000 a day for shooting a wedding, I mean, that sounds like a pretty worthwhile.
I will
course.
say you're talking about getting like starting from scratch.
Yeah,
weddings are easy to start from scratch because when you're trying to prove yourself to like. And coming up with a concept in your own to show up at a doctor's office with all this equipment and stuff.
Yeah.
Or you could just buy a camera or rent because you're only shooting for a day.
Sure.
And usually with weddings, it's outside. You're basically just given the situation, right? You're given a church or you're given like an outdoor ceremony where like the lighting's already there.
This is where it's going to be. Make it work.
Yeah. So it's like 10 hours and you're going to get paid. Your minimum is going to be like, if you tell someone $1,500 for a wedding, they'd be like, dude, that's so cheap. I'll book you. Yeah. It's like, well, I've never done a wedding before. Like, oh, I don't care. Yeah. $1,500. You're saving us $1,500. Yeah. Because everyone's charging $3,000 to $5,000. So like, we're just gonna book you.
Yeah.
You could be like, oh crap, dude, this would be terrible. But you'll make more and it'd take a ridiculous amount of time to edit. Yeah. Editing's crazy, but it's easier to outsource.
No. So when I got married, we got married in the Virgin Islands.
Wow. Cool.
And there was only like 2 or 3 videographers in the Virgin Islands, and all of them, in my opinion, were subpar. And, you know, obviously mainland, there's a lot more people over here in the United States. There's like really good videographers and stuff like that. So we found a couple of videographers in Florida, and we actually flew them out to the Virgin Islands to do our wedding. Wow. Because everybody in the Virgin Islands, in our opinion, was terrible. And if it's like your one day, you're going to want to have like a really nice wedding video, you know? Yeah. And so to my point, they charged a lot for it. Yeah. You know, they didn't really charge us as much as they could because I think they were just excited to go to the Virgin Islands. you know, they're like, hell yeah, dude. Like, what do you want me to be? Say less, I'm there. Yeah. But I think finding opportunities in markets where, you know, if you want to live in a beautiful place and you're really good with the camera, you should move to the Virgin Islands and you could just crush it, you know, because it is the same scenario over and over again. But I think if you can make $3,000 a day shooting weddings, you could do a couple of those a month. I mean, shit, that's not bad at all.
The toughest thing is you're only doing that 3 weekends or 4 weekends out of the month because they don't really happen on any other days.
So you can make $12,000 a month,
on 3 days.
12 to 20 grand a month.
Yeah,
that's not bad.
And so that's the thing. Like I actually treat it as like my side. I don't advertise any wedding videos at all. Yeah, my wife has like a videography package on her website. That like that's kind of like my side hustle, I guess. I don't want to ever market it. I don't want to ever be like associated with weddings. Yeah, but it's hard to pass up. Hey, you want to do 2 weddings? I'll pay you, you know, $7,000 for 2 days.
Yes, like, I would like that.
Yeah, I would like that because then all your other business income is going to be on top of that. Yeah, and so it's like we can end up having a good month. We can invest in more equipment to now sell businesses even higher budgets because now look at the equipment we have. How'd you make this money? Well, we actually produce weddings. You know. Yeah. I don't know.
So weddings is a start. Take. Yeah. I like that. So if you're looking to get started, start with weddings. You know, don't fuck it up though, because you'll have Bridezilla coming after you.
That's the tough part. But don't be nervous. Everyone's like, I'm so nervous to messing it up, dude. Just hit the REC button and point it in the right direction.
Yeah, and you're good. Good to right angles. Interesting. Yeah. And so your wife does this too. So
her iPhone, and I think that might be the future too. I think she kind of cracked in. Yeah. You know, because videography, I mean, editing a wedding, you don't know how long it's to take. 3 to 6 months, I guess, till you get your wedding video back. I don't know how long
Yeah,
it
I
took
think
you
ours
guys.
took like 90 days for them to put together like a 2-minute clip, something like that.
Yeah,
And then there's like a 5-minute one, I think it was like one for Instagram and one for, our enjoyment. And it took them a long time, but it came out really, really good. It was sick,
that's awesome.
you know?
But having the clips the next day, it's almost like you cannot beat that.
No, you can't. Like, yeah, speed. Like, hey,
Especially with these like the iPhone 15 Pro Max, whatever. It's like a good camera.
yeah,
And
no,
like,
it's solid. It's solid. The only issue that I ran to it, because like I bought these cameras for this podcast, and I tried using my iPhone for it, and like the quality is great, like the video quality, but there's an issue right now with the iPhone 15s when you hit record and you're doing for long periods of time. Sporadically, it'll just turn off. Like it'll just stop recording like
Yeah.
halfway through that I've experienced. And unless you're behind the camera, making sure it's still on, then it's not just a set it and forget it type thing. And so that's the only downside I have to
For
the
sure.
iPhone 15.
I just feel like 5 years from now it'll be
5 years from now, it's gonna be crazy. Everything's gonna be
crazy.
crazy in 5 years from now. Like I don't even know what the world's gonna look like, but it's gonna be it's not gonna be the same
that's true.
because I'm really focused on this AI stuff. Like I don't know, like because I do a lot of cold calling, right? And so I'm trying to develop right now a program, like an AI caller bot. So imagine you have the ability to call 1,000 businesses in 1 minute. Just hit dial 1,000 businesses, and then you've got an AI voice on the phone saying, "Hey, this is Jill. This is Jack. This is Joey. How are you doing today, ma'am? Just curious if you guys had any needs for videography, or just curious if you guys had any needs for XYZ product or service." And then boom, in that 1 minute time frame, you called 1,000 businesses, and now you might have 100 leads from people who responded positively. And so I think that's going to be crazy.
That's gonna be
You know?
crazy. If you can convince people that it actually sounds like a real person, not like
I
automated.
have a friend who's doing it right now, and he's using it for solar, and he's calling homeowners and saying, "Hey, this is Jill. We're calling with XYZ, electric company, and we're just calling to see if you got the new meter." And the
And people are
robot,
answering them and stuff.
yeah,
That's
and people
crazy.
are answering them, and like it's calling like older people, but it's really indistinguishable. And I'll bet you in 5 years from now, almost every call that you make to a business will be answered by an AI robot. Like it's gonna be indistinguishable. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I focus on that a lot because I think that's gonna be the future. And being in marketing and sales, like, and getting a full pipeline of leads, I think that's gonna be really important.
Yeah, it's what every business wants.
Yeah, man. So
Yeah.
what do you do? What do you do for fun when you're not recording videos?
Learning more about them.
Learning more about it.
I'm
You're an
pretty,
entrepreneur. You're obsessed with what you're doing,
I was about
right?
to say I'm pretty obsessed. So
Yeah.
trying to find out, kind of like we said, the AI, like the new tech that's coming out.
Yeah.
I actually was talking to this guy the other day. They're installing like AI chips into these Sony cameras.
Uh huh.
And usually one of the biggest things whenever you're filming people is like you are being paid to render skin tones, right? To
Yeah.
make sure that don't make me look orange, don't make me look freaking yellow, know?
Sure.
And this AI thing could take a picture and it can automatically just like fix the skin tones to make it completely perfect without any editing after the picture is taken. This guy was telling me that this AI chip is going to be coming out on all Sony cameras within like the next 2 years.
Interesting.
And yeah, it's interesting because I basically, I manually set the camera and everything myself.
Yeah.
But to have it to be able to be like perfect with an AI chip in there 5 years from now, it might be a little bit different.
Yeah.
But
Are you think far ahead in the future? Are you one of those people? No.
No,
You have a
I'm
hard
not.
time seeing past tomorrow.
yeah, I'm one of those people because I feel like every single time I make a plan for the future and see past tomorrow, it ends up being completely different
Yeah.
in a good way though.
Sure.
So I just try to conquer every single day. Just like every day is a new day. And obviously you do have like some long-term things, right? I feel like
Yeah.
complacency is a seed of failure.
Yeah.
So it's not really good to be like, oh yeah, my business is 100%, everything's good, everything's
No, dude, 'cause
fantastic. That's bad. That's
well, in
usually a
your
red flag.
business, I think your business is the same as my business, where it's like, you have clients and you fulfill some sort of service for them, and it might be repetitive business, but at the end of the day, if you don't keep on chasing it, you're not going to have any money coming in.
Yeah.
And so you're constantly having to chase it. And so what I'm trying to build with my business is a platform, a stability platform where it's like, hey, look, I've got systems and processes and people that are doing everything rather than just being a solopreneur. And so like, I'm thinking from your point of view, like what's your long-term goal and how are you going to turn, maybe you don't even have any plans for this, but do you have any plans to turn your business, which in my opinion, if you have to show up every single day and go to work, you don't have a business, you have a job. which, at some point, every entrepreneur has a job, and eventually the goal is to turn it into a business and enterprise. So do you ever think about how you could possibly scale your business to where you're removed from it, where you own a company, like a production company? Or are you thinking just like solopreneur? I love these, $3,000 weddings, all day long.
No,
Like, do you think like that?
No, I think that it's important to think about the future. And obviously, yeah, I would like it to be shooting more crew shoots.
Yeah.
Right. I want basically like all my productions to have at least never me by myself, 2 or 3 people. And then I'll just be either like the camera operator. I think I kind of lean more into like the DP side. So there's like a lot more roles in videography, right? There's the camera team, then there's the sound guy. There's, the production assistant, the grips, like the people that are like, actually moving the stands, moving the lights into place.
Yeah.
So I would like to kind of be in charge of the camera and then, directing with the client and stuff like that. But maybe even just get to the point where I show up, there's 3 people that have already been setting up for me, and you're just dealing with the client. Hey man, we're going to get this done. I have, Matt setting up the lights, Nick right here. He's setting up all camera.
Yeah.
And so like that is the level I want to get to. Is basically, I don't ever want to be the guy that's just like, you're booking a project with my company, I'm not even going to show up. Like these guys are going to handle it. Because I've done that before. I've like tried to outsource and do that, and it's not gone well. People are just like, every time you're here, everything is good. Every time like, it's not saying it's bad, but like when other people go, it's just not as good. And like we're hiring, we want to work with you because of you. Yeah. And now it's kind of like, okay, well, I need to find a way to work with me because of me, but also like not actually like.
Well, you need to have a good team in place.
You have a good
which
team
having
in
the
place.
right people. You need like a general manager or like a crew team lead or something like that who has your vision, understands what you want, and can deliver.
Right. And I think it's not a very good field, I guess, to have like salary employees.
I think that's an entrepreneur like fallacy where it's like, dude, like who the hell would ever want to work for a salary?
Well, I think people would want to work for a salary. Yeah. I just think it's better because you can basically just get 1099 because there's so many freelancers. Like I said, there's audio, there's people that have specializations. Like I'm an audio guy, I only do audio. So I work for like 10 companies.
Yeah.
Like, and the same thing with camera, the same thing with grips. And so it's almost like there are people to hire, like a pool of people that essentially you could kind of have the same contracting 1099 crew without having the overhead of a salary.
That's true. Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why I got into it, is because like there are some businesses
you can subcontract everything out. Yeah.
And basically have no overhead because, your budget should be able to take care of those people.
The only thing is you don't have any quality. Well, I guess you don't really have quality. I don't know. You have probably less control, and kind of to your point, when it comes to working with people who's like, look, we're doing business with you because of you. You do
have control over the contract guys because they're doing their own job. Like they're doing their own audio set. Like I don't have to really tell the audio guy how to manage levels and all. He knows how to do that.
Sure, that's true.
The toughest thing is that they might not be like embodied in your whole like core values and showing like. But they're always going to show up on, because you're working for so many companies. So we all know to wear all black. We all know how to act on set. We all know what set etiquette is.
Sure.
Not to step on other people's territories, not to step on like other departments' territories.
Yeah.
And I also want to develop that for myself too. So I recently purchased like a high-end camera, and to try to also just be like, not only work for myself, but also maybe be like, okay, you can rent my camera and my package.
I think there's gonna be money in the renting the camera business, dude. Like I think so.
And especially like they call it owner operator, right? And so it's like, well, we already have this project, we would just maybe like to use your camera and like to use your services. What's your rate for like 10 hours? Yeah. So you're working and you're not editing anything. So you show up.
Yeah, you just show up, record the content. You make great money
and you get the rental, and you just hand them a card and you go home at the end of the day. So like that's another side business too.
Pretty easy.
I like to get into.
Do you ever want to get into like movies?
Dude, I've always like wanted to shoot one, but I've been told that it's terrible.
Why?
Because a lot of
Isn't
times,
that where the big bucks is at? Is making the movies, Hollywood and shit?
Well, because like they just say, I mean, someone's making the big bucks, but usually not the crew members as much. I mean, it really depends because there's so many different jobs on set.
Yeah.
But it's like 50 days in a row, 30 to 50 days in a row, and you're basically agreed to work for this movie, and so essentially. Like they could just like there's a lot of horror stories like we worked 21 hours straight, and then the next day we woke up we did 15, then the next day we did 18, and we're not getting paid. Like you get paid overtime, but to a certain extent because you're getting paid less per day because you're working X amount of days in a row. Whereas like if you do a commercial, it might be a 2-day shoot, and so you're getting paid more per day than you are for a movie. But I'm also not an expert on this field. That's just what I was told, and like everyone was just like, you won't, because your family life, like you won't ever see your family. You're just working like 18 hours like a dog for like below pay from what you get for a commercial.
Yeah.
That only takes 2 days.
That makes sense. That makes sense, actually.
And then just imagine like, all your clients that basically were like, hey man, we love working with you every month, and you just disappeared for 2 months.
See ya. Yeah, you can't do that. Interesting.
I feel like, I know, yeah, it's like what makes me unique. I don't feel like there's very many people that do like non-crew work all the time, you know, like that just aren't those owner-operator guys that are just waiting on a call. I just was one of those people that's like, I'm not going to wait on a call for the next movie or the next commercial to go in town. Like, I got to make things happen for myself too, you know?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like a good gig, man. There's a few things I wouldn't like about it for myself, mainly because you have to be somewhere all the time. I like to have the freedom.
Most part. I mean, you get to edit a lot.
But you get to set your own schedule and choose when you want to be there and not be there. So, I mean, it's pretty cool. And it sounds like you make good money doing it, you know?
Yeah. And I think like the idea is just like to try to eventually like transition to like long-term.
Yeah.
Is like make as much money as you can with it. And then like also try to get like rental properties and like start your own kind of like real estate.
Yeah. That's what everybody
the insurance
does.
here is terrible.
Oh,
So
I can attest to that.
Yeah, it's maybe not buying around here, but
you shouldn't even. I mean, honestly, dude, I think you should. If you want to, I don't think Louisiana. Are you gonna be a Louisiana lifer? Probably, just because of the family, right?
Yeah, my family lives here, and then like all my connections are here for my business and everything.
Yeah,
so.
Which is difficult to like pick up and go somewhere new. You know,
it would have to be like an opportunity to work with someone that I just couldn't pass up or something.
Yeah. Well. I mean, yeah, homeowners insurance, it makes or breaks a lot of deals out here.
Flood insurance. And
insurance, yeah.
I think the self-storage guy literally told me, he's like, oh yeah, dude, someone else can have Louisiana. I'm done with it. He's like, it's completely a waste of time. Like I got like 11 out of my 13 properties are in Mississippi.
Yeah.
And that's like, there's no flood insurance. Like everything is just way cheaper.
Yeah. No, I mean, we're planning on moving to Florida after this. Like we have a year left here, and then we're out like a light, man. Like Louisiana's a cool place, and like I can tell you one thing that I really like about Louisiana is like the deep family roots. You know, like everybody here is like very wholesome and very family oriented for the most part, and you guys have like traditions, and like your grandfathers have been here. You know, like I think it's cool because growing up in Las Vegas, it's a very transient town. And nobody is really from Las Vegas. Everybody's from other places, and everybody has family in other places. And like I had some family there, and then they moved and they left and they came back, you know. But here it's like everybody's like, no, we're all going to the family's house on Sunday. We're doing a barbecue. We're doing a crawfish boil. Then we're gonna do something for Mardi Gras. And like there's always a party going on down here. Like you guys are like the backyard barbecue people.
That's true. And like people are like, where'd you go to school, man? I was like, I went to like so-and-so college. Like, well, no, high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What high school did you go to?
I don't know. It's like in any part of the country, like
what college?
This never happens. No one asks where you went to high school except here.
It's unique in that way. So if you're looking for family ties, like really cool place to be is Louisiana. But other than that, I don't know why people live here.
Yeah, there's no place like it. The culture is really amazing, and it's very unique. You can paint your house purple if you want it.
Yeah, there's a lot of weirdos here, man. You can do whatever you want.
You just do whatever you want. And so, like, that's, like, the cool part about it. Very, like, European city. I mean, I've never really been to Europe, but that's what I've been told. It's very, like, European city. You can walk a lot.
It is. So, like, our least favorite city that we went to in Europe was France, or Paris, specifically. And it felt a lot like New Orleans. It was very dirty. There's, like, graffiti everywhere. I was appalled by the amount of graffiti and, like, just
Paris,
trash.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I couldn't believe it. And they had like all the French bakeries and stuff like that, which there's a lot of here, which I love those, by the way. Like, have you been to Celtica?
Yeah, I have been to Celtica.
I love Celtica. I go there like 2-3 times a week. But yeah, it was just one of our least favorite cities because it just felt like very similar to New Orleans. And New Orleans is like not one of my favorite places, but it's cool and it has its cool things. I think it's a great place to visit. If you've never been here, you should come here for Mardi Gras. You should come here, check out the French Quarter, and you should go see some alligators.
It's a great like hosting city. Like get in for 3-4 days and then you can,
Yeah, but you live in New Orleans, right? Or in Metairie?
I live in Old Metairie. Yeah.
Old Metairie. Oh, Old Metarie's a spot.
It's pretty nice. Yeah.
Like they have some dope ass houses in Old Metairie.
They do. They just tore down the two next to me.
Yeah.
Tore down both of them. Built them up in 7 months.
Yeah, they're gonna build a fat one, right?
One just sold for like. So I live like in a back house in this lady's property. So like a mother-in-law suite. It's kind of like a little cottage home. It's like 2 bed, 1 bath, and like you have like a little bit more of like we have a back patio, front patio. You can hear birds chirping. It's actually really, really nice. But anyway, the neighborhood that we're living in, like the landlord's house in front of us isn't like crazy nice, but they're tearing down all these crazy like okay homes and building these mansions.
Yep.
So they tore down these ones in front of me. 7 months later, they built them. We get a notice in the mail. It just sold for $1.7 million in 30 days.
Yep.
30 days.
Well, yeah, it's because
It's
like
crazy.
this is another thing that's unique about New Orleans and maybe just like the South or maybe the East Coast in general. But there's no old money out west. Like coming from the West Coast, there's no old money. There's no families who have been here for hundreds of years and like, you know, owned a plantation or owned like this big business or like a manufacturing plant or, you know, something crazy. Like there's not a lot of that. It's like very new. Like down here, like I've met some families who have like some old money, you know, like they've been here for generations. They got old money. And I think Old Metairie is where the old money hangs out, you know, and I think it's really cool. And I've never been anywhere where people are buying up houses, like 2 houses to your example, tearing them down and building another one because they want to be in that neighborhood. You know, like it's crazy. Like it doesn't happen out west.
Yeah, out west is cool though. I went to Reno.
Okay.
And then we drove over to like Lake Tahoe.
That's all. That's the only places you've been.
I went to the Vegas airport, but and then I went to like LA area for a wedding too.
Yeah. I mean, Reno is nothing compared to Vegas. We always I call it like the trailer park Vegas.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
It was fun though. So
no, I think it's a beautiful spot. It just doesn't have like the luxury that Las Vegas has.
Not even close.
Like, which is something that I miss about Vegas is I personally think that Vegas has better food than New Orleans, and they have a lot nicer amenities. You know, like in Las Vegas, like here in New Orleans, like you guys like old stuff and you keep the old buildings and you try to preserve like its original integrity. In Vegas, it gets old. We just tear it down. Like the casinos on the strip, they've all been built within the last 20, 30 years because every time it gets outdated, they knock it down and build another one.
Yeah.
And so it's always brand new. It's always top line, always luxury, you know? So I do like that. But it's totally different, you know, totally different than living out here, but it's cool, man. So, I guess we'll kind of wrap this up here. And I think we kind of got some good nuggets to take away for some people.
I hope so. I don't know if I did too good.
Dude, well, time will tell. You know, throw us on Instagram. Let's see, where can we find you at? Where can the people find you? Let's see here.
Yeah, so I have an Instagram account.
Yeah.
JSB Creative, and I actually haven't even deleted my old stuff just so you can see the progression.
Okay.
You can see like a lot of the old stuff that I used to do compared to what I do now.
Okay.
It's a little bit different. And I need to post on there a ton more though. And then I have my website should be linked in there and everything.
JSB Creative with the underscore. Your website is jsbproductions.org. And you can find him, Jonathan Sigler, aka Boots, located down here in Louisiana. So if you guys are a local business and you're listening to this and you guys are looking for an expert videographer who can level up your business, give you some online presence, maybe shoot a few commercials for you, but at the end of the day, bring more clients in the door, which is basically what you do, you should hit him up because I think he's got really, really good work. So anyway, guys, hopefully you got something out of this. I'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks for listening.